and welcome to the program. I'm Arafat Shafiq. This is Morning at NTV. Now, let me first give you a synopsis of our direction of discussion today. The connection between music and politics can be seen in many cultures. People in the past and present, especially politicians or politically engaged musicians and listeners, how that music can express political ideas and ideologies. For example, anti-establishments or private actions such as anti-governance songs. But also, music can express political or national ideas or sentiments and nationalistic ideologies through national anthems and patriotic songs. Now today in this political year and in this program, Morning at NTV, we want to float a Voyager above the music political interlinks. And my guest today is Nubian Lee or Buken Ali.
Yeah.
Buken Ali.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
You can first give your salutations to the people watching us.
Greetings to you all who are out there watching us. Yes, like you said, I'm by the names of Ali Buken. Most of you know me by the name of Nubian Lee. And I am the head of the Arts, Sports and Culture Department at the National Unity Platform.
Okay, Nubian, I was told you are Nubian by, it's not just a name, it's where you originate from.
Yeah, I'm a Nubian by tribe.
So you wanted to bring out that pride in you.
Oh yeah, being that I did not grow up on my dad's side, I grew up mostly on my mom's side with the people around my mom. So I did not get chance to be with the Nubians so much. So when I was identifying myself musically, I decided to front the name Nubian. And then Ali, you take away the A, it becomes a Lee. So that's where the name comes from. Because I'm proud of who I am. I'm a Nubian, so I'm proud of that.
And take us through your journey in music, because many right now know you as someone almost like a collaboration like Reddy and Weasel was. Yeah. Or you and Bobi Wine in that aspect.
Yeah.
It's like wherever you see Bobi Wine or wherever you see Nubian Lee, expect Bobi Wine to be there, and vice versa. Yeah. And also in music. How did you connect? How did the two of you meet in terms of music?
Before all that happened, back in the days, I had a group that was called Nubian Squad. It was a high school group. And then we used to perform around different clubs, different bars. And that's when I got to meet Bobi Wine. And later on, the members of Nubian Squad, one relocated to the US, then the other went into gospel music. And I went into studies. And later on at university, I later linked up with Bobi Wine. So he called me to work on a song. Our first song was Ani Aleto Kwagala. So we kept on working. After Ani Aleto Kwagala, we worked on Adam Nekawa, and then, and so many songs kept coming, up to now.
So right now, Honorable Kyagulanyi or Bobi Wine's career was halted.
Yeah.
And similarly, it's like you are also crippled in terms of profession. Yeah. Somehow, because you usually worked with Kyagulanyi or Bobi Wine. Right now, how are you panning out? How are you trying to, patch things up? Because life is not easy and you need to still earn something. So how are you earning? How are you patching up with your career?
Yeah, I've been affected directly by the ban that was put on Bobi Wine. Because even in most cases, when I try to have a show, or if I'm advertised on any show, the next thing, somehow police will come and, sabotage the show, claiming that through me, Bobi Wine is going to come and appear on the stage. So in a way, it has affected my career. But luckily, before all that happened, we were earning some good money from the music. And with that little money, I was able to do some investments, which I cannot, of course, put out to the public, because we know the system we live in. I wouldn't want my business to be sabotaged. But in a way, I keep moving on like that.
But Nubian, for a while now, music has attracted government attention through various aspects. Why is there elevated interest in music by government, and how can artists use it as a stepping stone for the benefit of this country?
Yeah, government has picked so much interest in music, majorly because music was able to produce the biggest opposition leader to the government, that's Bobi Wine. Uh, they never expected it to be that way, because back in the days, they only needed the artists to mobilize numbers for them, especially during campaigns. That's when artists would be involved into the politics and all that. But when Bobi Wine came out and came into mainstream politics, they realized the power of music. They realized the power of the fan base, that you can turn that fan base, the music fan base, into a political following. And that has created a threat to the regime. Because Bobi Wine came into the music and he created an awakeness or an awareness. He opened up the mind of so many youths. Back in the days, the youths were about dancing in the clubs, drinking, hanging around, or involving themselves in betting and all that. But since the coming of Bobi Wine, nowadays when you go around the ghettos, the discussions about national issues, the politics of the country, so this has created a threat. So in a way, government wants to have control on the music industry, not to create another Bobi Wine. Yeah, so everything they're doing is trying to, to limit any uprising of another artist.
But when you look at it in a sense of music and politics, the interlinks, Uganda is not the first country to be threatened by someone who's from the arts industry.
Yeah.
When you look at South Africa, for example, Lucky Dube was there.
Yeah.
When you look at Jamaica,
Yeah.
the Vibes Cartel have been in jail. Michael Manley brought together Vibes Cartel and Bounty Killer just because things were political.
Yeah.
Bob Marley. So this is not the first country to have interlinks between music and politics intensified.
Yeah.
But why do the dynamics in Uganda seem to be so violent?
In Uganda, you must not forget the fact that we are in a dictatorship, and the major occupation or preoccupation of the regime is to keep itself in power. So anything that threatens their position of power, they will do anything to stop it. So because Bobi Wine has been able to awaken the masses, and now there is such a huge number of people who are speaking against the regime, who are yearning for change, this creates a threat to the music industry. Yeah, because of that, they wouldn't want another artist to associate himself with politics.
But where would another artist come from? Because when you look at Bobi Wine's journey in the music industry, he started preaching like protest songs very, very while ago. Right now, when you look at the current music trend, no one is singing about politics, and it seems like all artists are shy from engaging into the political arena, affiliating themselves with any political party or any social issue. Yet, music was a vehicle through which most artists, kind of drove social issues to reach the authorities. But right now, the trend is starting to go away. So, what role does music still currently serve in terms of lyrics, in terms of sending a message to the country?
Yeah, music is a tool. Let's say it's a tool that will carry a message of change, a tool that will awaken somebody, and it's a reflection of society. So when the lyrics come out, sometimes they connect to individuals, like even a love song, where you could write a love song thinking that maybe somebody's story, and then later on you find that so many people connect with that song. So in a similar way, music and the lyrics somehow have different ways of connecting people to that, to the lyrics. So this creates an awakeness. And because the regime now knows.
But right now it's very difficult to kind of disseminate that kind of song.
Yeah.
Because ever since 2017, when Honorable Kyagulanyi became a member of parliament, and when things started to get, kind of south in terms of his career, you've always been releasing once a while these protest movement songs, but they have not been getting airplay. Not because people don't want to give it airplay, but sometimes it's because of the restrictions involved. So don't you think that that is kind of impacting on what other artists would want to savoir, like give out the message, but they feel their music is not going to be released or played anywhere?
Yeah, that's the way it is. That
and for you, why do you keep on doing it?
We know that, yes, the regime has put restrictions on certain media houses from playing our music. Our music sometimes cannot play on mainstream, but we know there are other ways, other platforms where this music can reach the masses. There is TikTok, there are WhatsApp groups, there is Facebook, different social media platforms. So we continue to make the music because we know that in one way or another, it will reach where we target it to reach. So we keep on making the music. We cannot stop making music about the politics or about the social affairs, because we know the people who are willing to get that music will get it anyway. So this does not discourage us from making music, even if the government is out there to stop our music.
One would be quizzical. If you're not doing music right now, which was your largest, revenue earner as Nubian Lee, and you only have other businesses, and they also sabotaged, how do you survive right now?
Yeah, like I told you, I had already, by the time the regime came out to put restrictions on our music, on our performances, I'm surrounded by people who are business-minded, and that has had an impact on my life, on how I invest my money. So in a way, I'm able to keep afloat because I've invested in certain ways. That's why I cannot say where I've invested. I know if they get to know that such and such is my business, government may come and frustrate that business. But being able to have a little investment keeps me moving.
And this is something that artists have not been having, financial literacy.
And
how important is financial literacy knowledge to artists or to the arts industry?
It's very important because when the money keeps coming in from the performances, many artists tend to forget that someday that money may reduce and you may have to look for other sources of money. So the time you have when you're at your peak and that money is coming in, you need to use that chance to invest, because this is not forever. And being that we're in a society where the copyright is almost non-existent or is not practical, once you stop performing, in Uganda, artists majorly earn from performances. So once you stop performing, that money stops coming in. So you need to be aware of that and know that every time there will always be new artists, there will always be new trends. So as time moves on, you might not be that relevant. That means that the money becomes little or the performances reduce. So if you have that at the back of your mind, it's always important to invest and invest for the future.
Still sticking on commercialization, there has been a mixed chemistry among artists between money or making money and gaining the trust and kind of favor or having favor among people. A case in point is the recent concerts. There has been a way of politics getting involved with artists who seem to be leaning with the opposition, having favor within the people, but again obstructed by security or security personnel. And again, these artists who support government have been given a leeway in performances and but have not been gaining support from the people, not making money from those concerts. So How do you strike a balance as artists in this kind of situation? And how infiltrated has politics been in music?
Politics has had such a big negative impact on music. Like I told you, our government has picked interest in music, and they would like to frustrate the music industry, hence giving them handouts.
Does that make you realize your importance as artists and the arts industry? Have you realized your importance
I
and worth?
think that should awaken the artists and realize that they are bigger than the handouts.
Yeah.
You know, they will go to the government and complain that now because they are government-leaning artists, they are not having, you know, favor at the concerts. They are not performing as they used to perform. Then that means that government has to give them handouts. But the truth is, an artist is supposed to be a mirror of the society. You're supposed to reflect what happens in the society. You are the voice of the so many people, the fans. You should not only be one-sided. You only need to speak the truth.
Sometimes artists want to, you know, it's kind of a mixed emotion when you want to be somewhere emotionally.
Yeah.
But again, on the outer shell, there is something that you have to achieve.
Yeah.
For example, right now you can say that we're living in an economically straining situation, not only in Uganda but across the world, because you can hear even the US. I think of recent last week, it reported that it had shrunk by 0.3%, the kind of revenue and earnings.
Yeah.
So right now we are constrained financially, and you pity artists who inject a lot of money in production of audio, video, distribution and what. And this money has come, it's once in a lifetime, it has come in a bulk, and they really want to receive it. For example, we are in a political campaign here where many political individuals and parties are going to be looking for artists to garner support for them. It has not only been here in Uganda, we saw it with the US when Eminem was invited in Kamala Harris's campaign.
Yeah.
So right now, it's kind of a difficult situation for artists and this money and in a campaign here.
Yeah.
So don't you think right now what you need to do is to teach the artists or to sensitize them on how you can utilize this political campaign to kind of seek for your favors, what you want as artists in your industry?
Yeah. As an artist, sometimes you have to have principles. You have to have something you stand for. Like I said, we are in a dictatorship. So every time you side with a dictator, you're going to lose favor of the people. And as an artist, you strive on the people's love for you and for your music. Once you lose that, then you start losing the numbers. And once you lose the numbers, you lose the relevance. Once you lose that relevance, then you are no more to the regime. They only want you because you have those numbers. So an artist should be aware of that yes, some politician wants you to come to his campaign, but why does he seek out for you? Because you have a certain following. So you need to think about it twice. Are you going to go for the short-term benefits or you want to have the long-term benefits? What are the short-term benefits? When you side with the people who oppress the people that support you, that means you're going to have this handout that's going to be short-term. And then you are going to lose the fan base that has supported you from when you are just starting up to where you are. And this fan base is the one that will give you longevity. But once you lose that support, then you are going to lose favor with them. Hence, your music will be no more.
But even if you still have favor in them, your music might be constrained, as you said, with you and Robert Kyagulanyi, or Bobi Wine in this case.
Yeah.
You're still relevant to the people, but the music is halted.
Yeah.
And also, since you are kind of busy, both of you, in the political arena or political space, it seems like the career in music has been slowed down. Do you see yourself as Nubian Lee? Do you see yourself kind of swaying away from the music career and heading directly into the political arena, leaving out this?
Like a doctor would go into politics, they'll keep on practicing. So I think it's the same with me. Even if I went into politics, because music is my first, it's something I do with a passion. I did not start out to do music because of money. Money just came with that love and the development in the music. So this is a part of me. Music is a part of me. So even if I went into politics, similarly like Bobi Wine, he's the political leader of the biggest opposition party, that's National Unity Platform. But always you'll find time to go to studio and drop a song. So I think in a similar way, I could go into the politics, but when there is need to do music, I'll go and hit the studio and do something, because this music, like I said, is a tool of communication. It carries a message and it spreads further than anything, and it's not stoppable. You cannot touch it. They put restrictions on our music, but once we put the music out there, it's able to reach everywhere, and sometimes it gets viral. Just like the last song we put out with King Saha, Bobi Wine and King Saha. It went viral instantly, because you cannot stop the music. Even if you stop playing it on mainstream, it will always get there. So I think in a similar way, like a doctor goes into politics but still practices his profession, I think it's the same way.
You've talked about your music going viral, and that means technology has enabled that. Initially, when we talked about the Lucky Dubes, the Bob Marleys, when they were doing their music, it hit the world, but there weren't such technologies to kind of ease their penetration and distribution of these kind of songs. Right now, there are various aspects. You can do a song right now, and in 2 minutes, it has kind of taken over maybe Uganda or Kampala or the world or anywhere in just a split second.
Yeah.
How is music utilizing technology right now? Is it and is it effective and efficient, or we are just kind of doing the thing that we already know but without a purpose?
Technology is good for the music industry, but like I said, we do not have a working copyright law. If that was working well, then it would be benefiting the artists. But since an artist in Uganda majorly makes his income from performances, so this technology in a way helps to spread the music everywhere. And once the music is spread all over the country, this creates a demand on the artist. So this demand brings in bookings for the artist. So in a way it is working, but it's not been maximized. But if the copyright was really working, even the technology would be benefiting financially.
But many are looking at it in the aspect of copyright, but there are other aspects, in production, for example, in distribution. Have you looked at those other channels aside from the copyright?
Oh yeah. Technology has everything good about it.
I mean in Uganda here, how we are using it.
In Uganda, the way we are using it, I think it has benefited the artist so much. It has killed the monopoly of who decides which song becomes a hit. Like back in the days, a radio station would decide which song becomes a hit. But now it is the demand. Once the music gets out there, because of the technology, there are different platforms on which this music can get to the people. And the demand and the way they have received the music decides which song becomes a hit, decides which song becomes viral. So in a way, technology has really helped the artists.
And as the head of that kind of department within the party structure, are you utilizing those other avenues? Because TikTok, YouTube, and maybe those other avenues have helped, especially the NUP,
Yeah.
to promote the agendas or the objectivity of the party and to update us as a nation on whatever is going on. So do
Yeah.
you feel you're using it well enough to spread that gospel that you need to spread as a Nubian Lee?
Oh yeah, we are. We are. Because any music that comes and speaks about the plight of the people cannot play on mainstream. And people can only access it through these other social media platforms. So in a way, it's working for us. Because our music would be nowhere without the social media platforms, with the new technology. These media houses have been threatened. One time we were hosted at a one media house, and we requested the host to play us a song. And then he whispered to us, he said, you know what? The truth is that we were restricted from playing this song. It was a Tuliyamba Lengule song. And he said, but we can play any other song, maybe a love song. So in a way, these other platforms are helping our music to reach the people.
Is it where you drew the conclusion of making it like the party anthem? Because it was not playing in many...
No, no, the anthem came automatically because in a way that song speaks of the next Uganda, the new Uganda. So it came automatically as an anthem.
And who orchestrated the lyrics and the song? How did that song come into play?
The song was Bobi Wine's idea. No, we were at a certain retreat, just a small group of us, back in the days when we were just people power. We would have retreats, you know, to discuss on the movement and the way we would, you know, push our gospel, change gospel. So during this retreat, there are times when you are supposed to bond, have music and all that. So one of the songs that came up was that. And later an idea came into our mind, and we were like, you know what? This is a very beautiful song for the struggle. Why don't we involve other artists and then make it a big song for the people power movement? And that's how the song came up.
And now taking you back to what we've been discussing, you talked about the copyright.
Yeah.
Of recent, we've had the industry got excited about a certain copyright. I don't know whether it was a law passed or something like that. But since you are someone in the industry, perhaps you took initiative to understand what was taking place, and also you have opinions on what took place. Can you please share them with us? In terms of the copyright, the recent thing that Eddie Kenzo, got excited about.
Oh yeah, it's very funny. They promised whatever they promised, but the actual truth of it is that nothing was delivered. Because what was promised to the artist is not practical. That mechanism of monitoring music in bars, in radio stations, and wherever your music can be played, it was just sheer talk. It got the artists excited, but up to now, nothing has happened. What we really need is implementing the copyright. Dr. Hilderman, he's the MP of Maokota, took the initiative, and he was given leave of parliament to benchmark on the copyright law, and he's done that. He's done the benchmarking different countries like Nigeria, and where the copyright law really works to the benefit of the artists. And nothing has happened, simply because the government is not interested in that. We have seen certain things where government has so much interest in how fast they get to be done, like the coffee bill, how fast it got to be passed. So if the government really meant what they said, I think by now they would have done something about the copyright. So artists should realize that government would never want to empower the artists. They want to see us as beggars. Like I said, because of the system and the way it goes on in Uganda, an artist gets his money mostly from a performance. And you can never be performing like forever and ever. Time comes and the performances reduce. But in systems where there are copyrights, you are able to get a little money whenever your music is played or used various ways on different platforms.
But in
So
terms,
whatever happened here, it was an empty promise.
in terms of copyright and coming to an understanding as artists, there's been some kind of division. For example, when you look at the copyright, this kind of copyright that of recently got the artists and the industry excited, it was being I don't know, followed up by one person, if you could say.
Yeah.
Others also have their own ideas, but they don't want to come on board and link them together. Don't you think this divisions in and disunity within the industry is causing you a lot of trouble? Because there are people who are running certain initiatives and really have a closer kind of leniency of ear from the president or regime than others. Don't you think you would utilize them, merge their ideas, and then you let it reach there? Aren't you doing a disservice to yourself as artists?
Like I said, it's intended by the government to bring about these divisions and different groups within the music industry. It works for the government because once a group of people are united, they become stronger. So they would like to have these divisions to keep us weak as artists. And then you have this group fighting the other group, that group fighting the other group, eventually not giving things that matter priority, like the copyright. They formed a certain group and lots of the taxpayers' money was given to them without any accountability. And this brings, fights within even that group of the way they've splitted the money amongst themselves. So in a way, whenever these people are not able to sit in one room and discuss about issues that affect all of them together, then nothing moves. So it's a way to keep them that way, and that's how the government wants it to be. Because if really government was interested, then they would use those resources to send out people to do research in different countries, then do benchmarking and, come together, combine ideas, and then present a bill or a draft to Parliament through our MPs like Hildeman. But that is not happening.
But artists who have been, outside the premises of legislation or the sanctity of legislation have always blamed members of Parliament who entered Parliament as artists. And they have said they have not done them enough for the industry. They have not done enough for the industry, and they have not done them a favor as fellow artists, including the principal himself, because we've seen severally, many people, MC Katz, Eddie Kenzo, have been coming out, on such notions. So, do you agree with what they are saying? Do you think artists in Parliament are doing something for the arts industry?
When you decide to look at it that way, then maybe you'll have it that way. But we should look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is, does government really want the artists to be empowered? Like, so many bills have been able to pass so fast. But why is it that when it comes to the copyright, it has taken a while?
Recently given you money as artists.
The money was given to the artists, but that's what Bobi Wine keeps saying. We do not want handouts because it's not sustainable. That is not sustainable. There should be a way that is sustainable.
Have you tried to channel that way that is sustainable to deliver it to government telling them this is what we want, not handouts, rather this, and they fail to deliver?
Yeah, Hildeman has tried that and he's been frustrated, and nothing is moving so far. So like I said, the solution is, if we have a truly working democracy, then so much is achievable. But in a way, in the environment we are in, unless the government has an interest in it, but once it does not work for it, then nothing is going to work out.
And does it justify the conclusion or the rising tide of many, many artists joining politics or the political arena?
No, artists have just realized that because many of the artists are educated and they have all the qualities, just like any other Ugandan. They share the same rights, just like any other person. And many of them have realized that they can turn this favor they have into a political career, and they can be maybe of a service to the people. So those who are interested in the politics, and this awareness made them realize that sometimes they just don't need to sing about the music, the issues only, but how about coming and being of service to the people politically? Yeah, so hence many artists are coming up and joining the political arena.
And how do you see the contribution of artists in the democracy right now of Uganda? Because if you say you're frustrated the other end, can they make a change? Can they bring a difference in how our development is?
Yes, I believe they can. They can, but this still comes to the individual, their abilities. Kyagulanyi himself was able to do so much politically. He was able to awaken the masses. So it comes back to the personality of that individual, their abilities. I cannot speak for so many, I can only speak for the few that have been able to witness. Yeah, but artists need to be given chance. Once they step up and, they seek a certain office, it's upon the people to decide with their votes. Yeah, so I think they need to be given chance, and then later we could discuss their abilities. If we have people to look at and say, such and such an artist did this, the other artist failed at this, and the other was good at this, I think that's when we can discuss about them.
And right now, as you guys are trying to shape out the music industry, what challenges do you feel are still, kind of in this industry that are very heavy and a burden to you? Not only you as artists, but to every stakeholder within the arts industry, within the music industry, the producers, the maybe promoters.
Yeah.
So are there challenges that are still very, very hard to handle?
Yeah, there are lots of challenges because this is an industry that has caught the eye of the government just recently. But back in the days, it was all about the artists, the individuals. Everything you had to struggle on your own. There's not been any initiative to help the music industry or the art industry from government. And the only time it caught the eye of the government just started frustrating it instead of promoting it in a way. So there are lots of challenges, being that, like I said, it comes back also to the copyright. People do not get their loyalties the way they're supposed to. Producers are complaining. Artists are also complaining. Promoters. There are lots of problems within the industry.
You're talking about, in a nutshell, something to do with the perception, the perspective of the arts industry or the music industry right now, to which Honorable Kyagulanyi has tried to define alternatively or ulterior to how we used to perceive it. Initially, the perception was people who are in the music industry, most of them are crooks or hooligans, the arts industry is meant for failures, personally, people who are trying to survive in life and what. And it goes even worse when you're rich in America, because they usually dub it in, you know, hoods, people who have failed in life, trying to survive literally. Right now, the perception has changed, and we're looking at artists and art, as you've said, people who have gone to school, very educated, and they're now moving from this avenue to another avenue of legislation. So try to take us through the evolution of the music industry in Uganda in terms of perception and where it's leading to.
Yeah, back in the days, like you said, people thought that artists were people who had failed at certain professions and all that. And but that was the perception of the people. But when you get down and you start looking at an artist and, you know, analyzing an artist is a creator. They create something, you know, out of nowhere. They will sit and create relics. We have artists who are able to draw. We have playwrights who are able to come up with very good scripts and all that. So when you look at that, you discover that, in fact, artists are geniuses. So sometimes, like they say, that they will address you the way you're dressed, because artists have always been, you know, fashionable in a certain way that connects to their hood, and they've been taken like that. But once an artist comes out, like Kyagulanyi was able to come out and put on a suit and a tie, then people started seeing him the way he was dressed and addressing him the way he was dressed. But when you take that away, an artist, like in Uganda, they've been able to prophesize things. Like Haman Basude, when you listen to his music, he was able to sing things that are going to happen in the future, things which are happening now. He sang that back in the days. So with the society following all this, they've realized that artists are not just gang guys or ghetto guys, but they are people who are able to foresee, people who are able to connect the plight of the people and put it out in a melody or in a song. People who are able to reflect what is happening in the society. So in a way, people have started looking at artists differently. In fact, they're even able to analyze situations, and people will pick a few things out of that. So like I said, it is really changing from just abadongo, like the way they used to put it.
And how is the future laid for these upcoming artists in that kind of structure, in that kind of arena, or kind of perception?
Yeah, now that artists have been able to be successful in life, many artists are now able to have a life, to have good families, to be the kind of people the youth can look up to. Even parents have now become supportive of their kids who want to involve themselves in the art industry. Back in the days, it was never the case. Parents would never encourage their kids to follow the music trend or to seek their music dreams. But right now, I can tell you, for one, I've seen parents who drive their kids to studio, and they've been supportive because they know that this industry is something. Somebody can come out and become somebody in the society. So there is a great future for the upcoming artists, and they should, you know, just keep on developing their talent, have room to develop, you know, practice, develop, research, do anything that adds onto you something, a value onto you. The industry is going to be good in the future.
From you know, upon the backdrop of your submission, your latter submission.
Yeah.
You mentioned something to do with the longevity of
Yeah.
music when you
Yeah.
talked about the Haman Basude and the kind of music they used to do. And when you look at right now, there's been a complaint in the industry. Not only here in Uganda, when you look at it critically, it has been across the globe. Artists have started going for music that lasts for a few days or weeks or months,
Yeah.
but for short term and not in the long term.
Yeah.
First of all, why is the trend like that? Is it us, the listeners, or is it the artists within the arts industry? And two, how does it define the art in the near future? Because this kind of music, you sit with, for example, you can go to Comedy Store. You sit there and they bring Jamal Waswa or Maddox Sematimba, for example. They stopped singing a long time ago. Jamal Waswa, I think, by his latest song was 2015, around 2014. He has never released again.
Yeah.
But right now, he still rhyme. Maddox Sematimba, similarly the same. Artists now are singing songs that last for 2 weeks, 2 days. Why?
That has always been around. There are different kind of artists. There are artists that have pop music. It pops. It just comes and pops for a few minutes and it's off. And then there are artists who are able to have music that's going to last through generations. That has always been there. Even right now, we have artists who are making music that people will connect to even years away from now. Yet, in the same environment, we have music that came out maybe last year and is irrelevant now. So like I said, artists always reflect the society. Even the trend in the society will be reflected in the music.
So these people who are always into the longevity state,
Yeah.
Is it something that they should try to do away with? Is it a white horse?
No, it's very necessary. It's very necessary to do music that people will always reflect to, you know, music that will always be played even from years from now. It's very important because like music has the power to take you back to a certain moment, like when you first heard that song. There are songs that will take you back.
And
So
what does
music
it
has
take?
that.
What does it take to do something like that, to do such a piece?
Everyone gets a different kind of inspiration. It's like I said, we get inspired by things that's around us, by dreams, by stories, by what you see that is whatever is happening in the society that inspires us. So it depends on what has inspired you to do that. And sometimes you never even know that a certain song is going to have such a huge impact on people, but because you're simply trying to get inspired by whatever is happening. So this happens. An artist, the same artist would have a song that would last maybe 3 months, and same artist could do a song that's gonna last like forever. So this happens. Like I said, whatever is happening musically is a reflection of whatever is happening in society. So even this music that does not last, it represents the kind of environment we are in.
There's some people who have good music, but it just fails to kind of, I don't know, get attached to people or getting embraced or something like that. And when you listen to it as someone, for example, if you know art or someone, the producers or people who understand music,
Yeah.
there are some songs you listen to and you feel like it was a good song,
Yeah.
lyrically, melodically, and the harmonies are good, the beats are on point, but they just fail to get, kind of that spark with the people.
Yeah.
I'll give you a scenario. I was told Maddox Sematimba's album
Yeah.
that he did lasted 6 months in Uganda, 6 years in Uganda,
Yeah.
without being played anywhere.
Yeah.
So what brings about that? Is it the trend of we the listeners? I don't know what brings about that. Can you try to define it for us?
Let's take an instance of Maddox's songs. I remember I first heard Maddox's song from an artist, the guy who used to be known as Meton Kuruno, the guy who used to sing with Megadi.
Megadi, yeah.
Yeah, we were in a club, Chase Johnson, back in the days. and he sang Omuyimbi. Then I thought, wow.
You didn't know that. You didn't know that it was Maddox's.
I
then?
did not know. I was like, wow. I even went to him and I was like, damn, that's a very beautiful song. And at that time, he claimed it was his song. But you never know. He was a channel through which that song would be known. Like people would get to know that song through him. Sometimes it's the avenues through which we use to publish the music. Sometimes, like back in the days, like I said, a radio station would have a monopoly of which song becomes a hit or which song does not get to make it to the playlist. So through different avenues. So sometimes a good song might take a while, but wherever it hits, it leaves an impact. So these few people who were impacted by that song, if they are able to access that song, then they will push it onto a next platform or a different platform. Then a song that came out some years ago comes back and becomes relevant. So it's always about how you publish the song and then the people, how they embrace it. So there are songs that hit straight away, right from studio to everywhere. It also depends on the hype that they put around the release of this song. So in a similar way, sometimes a song keeps on building with time. The more listeners it gets, like one listener will inform the other person about that song, and then later on it gets that power that is able to push it into the market. So sometimes that's how it works. Yeah. Where does the music pass? Which avenues has the music gotten through to get to the people? Yeah, sometimes these avenues may be a bit slow, but wherever they pass, they leave a very huge impact. So if a song is good, it always makes its way to the people. Like this song, is it Chelsea Mirirawo? The story of that song, at the time it came out, it did not get so much impact.
There are many songs, when you look at them. There is also this one of, I'm forgetting the artist. When you look at the market, it seems young, and it seems it doesn't want that kind of, but when you tweak the songs a bit, they become hit wonders. So is it also partly the market?
Yeah, it's the market, and then the way they've marketed it. Nowadays we have trends. Influencers, an influencer could get onto your song and then give it that hype, and then people pick up the same. So different avenues decide which song makes it or does not make it. So if a TikToker, like the songs we've been speaking of, Atakwagala Wamanyi, it came through TikTok, and then everybody started doing challenges, and then the song came back to life. So it's always different avenues. You can never know which one is going to get it out there first, but you just have to give it a chance.
Lastly, Nubian, you talked about your responsibilities in the party. We couldn't live here without you giving us a heads up in elaboration of exactly what your role serves and the achievements so far, because this is so far 5 years within the formation of NUP.
Oh yeah.
As your department alone, what have you achieved?
We've been able to mobilize for the party, mostly through football matches and netball, through sports, because sports is such a huge mobilization tool, and it's not only for recreation, but we have what we call edutainment. So when the masses gather and time comes for speeches, they live with a message of change. So through these tournaments, we've been able to do that. And then through the music, the various change-seeking or change-leaning artists, they put out various songs that pass on the same message of change, a message of hope, and Yeah, so much has been achieved.
And how it seems to be quite a busy schedule for you.
Yeah.
First of all, having a career as an artist, then having a responsibility in the party, and then executing all those responsibilities, but also sometimes attending to your other investments.
Yeah.
How do you strike a balance among all these activities that you roam around you?
Like for the party activities, I do not work as a person, as an individual. We have a committee for the arts. So sometimes if you're not able to be around, you delegate a comrade. So we have a committee, a whole committee for that department. So I'm able to do certain things. I do not have to be everywhere. We will delegate people who can be in different places at whatever event that they need to be. So that's how we work. We work as a team. Being able to form teams has enabled us to move. Yeah.
And lastly, it's the Firebase crew, the
Oh, yeah.
Firebase army.
Yeah.
Right now, Firebase and things to do with, how can I call them, groups, music groups, has kind of gone down in Uganda. Why
Yeah.
do you think so? And who is running Firebase right now, and how is it run?
Firebase, we have a manager. He's called Manager John. He manages Firebase. But besides that, we have several artists that carry on the name. We have the likes of Bilanji Lanji, the likes of Dax Vibes, a whole clique of different artists are at Firebase. Like we have Limu Limu, various artists. So these artists carry on the name, and sometimes we do not have to, because ours has come with so much frustration from the government. So our artists sometimes won't front the name, but we have artists out there. Yeah, it's a covert thing. It's because, like I told you, for certain reasons, to be able for these artists to be able to make it, they do not have to come out and brand themselves as Firebase, because this will have a negative impact on them. As Firebase, there's been restrictions and the frustration from the government. So our artists, we have our artists out there, but they're not gonna front the name Firebase, but we know they are, and they know they are. So when we need them, we know how to reach out to them. Yeah, so Firebase is active. We have a recording studio in Kamocha, which is open
So
to...
is Firebase totally different from the Noop?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you separate the kind of roles from Noop?
It's totally different, but in the eyes of the oppressor, it's the same, because it's out of Firebase that Bobi Wine was able to rise. So it's Firebase as it is still a threat to the regime, and we have to protect it from...
Is Bobi Wine still carrying out duties in Firebase?
Yes, he does.
And you still are?
Oh, yeah.
But when you look at right now, the kind of trend we have, these kind of groups have toned down.
Yeah.
Initially, we used to have the Leon Island, Gargamel, I don't know which, there were so many. Phantom Novice came up with his
Yeah.
own, Oscar Diamond came up with his own, Gift of Kado. So there are very many. But right now, the trend is seemingly individual.
Yeah.
What brought this kind of change, and how does it, how did these groups, what were their marks on the music industry of Uganda?
These groups were very helpful in a way that a group would have one major artist. Let's say Firebase had Bobi Wine as the biggest artist. So in a way, if you booked Bobi Wine, he would come along with the other artists of Firebase. And in a way, he would give a platform to these other upcoming artists. Before he goes onto stage, you would have artists from Firebase performing at different intervals. So in a way, this would promote even these other upcoming artists, and that's how we were able to get different artists.
And right now, how the trend is it seems more of an individual.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think as the trend is going and the evolution,
Yeah.
these groups are no longer needed? And where do you think this kind of trend is leading the industry? Do you think groups, it will reach a time when completely they've dissolved?
The trend as it is, the groups were very important in creating new artists. But right now, it takes so much to maintain a group. There has to be harmony. They have to be able to control their ego, because the music industry is mostly about ego. Every artist feels like they're bigger than the other artists. So if they're not able to control that ego, then they're not able to have a group or to be in the same group. Because no artist will say that, no, this is the bigger artist. So when everybody feels like they are the bigger artists, then they're not able to be in the same room. So that's why we're having these groups falling out. Because every artist comes with their own ego. They feel like they're almighty, they're so powerful. And so it's creating a trend where every artist is on their own. But in a similar way, for even these artists, solo artists, to make it, they need a team. It all comes back to a team. So musical groups, like having groups full of artists, are going away. But then we are having solo artists with a working team. They will have a team of a manager, a promoter, an influencer, and all that.
But right now, whatever you're mentioning, that is in a proper structure.
Yeah.
When you look at the current or the modern ways, especially here in Uganda,
Yeah.
it has been gangs, as you'd know.
Yeah.
One would, Arafat came from the ghetto.
Yeah.
You have your Bades, Nubian Lee was your guy from way back, and you're like, oh, Nubian, you understand one or two things in music, you're going to be my manager. However, you're still my friend, you're going to be Ogenda Bera Kugali Yange.
Yeah.
So, as Nubian Lee, part of NUP,
Yeah.
the party that has been so much criticized of having youths
Yeah.
who are gangs, not only youths, but youths who are in gangs.
Yeah.
And you expect your career to be, kind of involved with that, but it has been so silent, and
Yeah.
no drama of such kind has been there.
Yeah.
How have you managed to live as Nubian Lee, having these gangs with Firebase and what, but maintain the harmony and peace and not go astray and beating people as the trend is kind of going on?
Yeah. When you look at, let's take for instance Firebase, you would name it a gang, but actually it was a group of decent youths, people who come from a background of good family upbringing. You look at Bobi Wine and family, it's a good family. They have respect for one another. And then the different artists that were within the group. So it takes personal discipline for a group to strive. And this will be impacted by the character of the leader. If the leader is of a bad character, then it goes on to the other followers. They will act in a similar way. So it depends on who leads the group. How were they brought up? Are they social? Are they able to respect one another? Are they able to embrace other people of different walks of life? So it all depends on who leads the gang. So that's why we were not able to have like instances of fights, like going to a show and then fighting people, beating up people who have come to watch you, because we really respected the fans, and this reflected on everybody who was within the group.
All right, Nubian Lee, maybe your last words, if there are any, to the audience.
Oh yeah.
Any you'd want, whether it's political or musical.
Oh yeah. To the people out there watching us, we are in a time where we need one another, in a time where we need a political awareness, where each one can do a role or play a role and awaken a neighbor, awaken 10 people. We need this awareness for people to realize that politics is a part of your daily life. You cannot do away with politics, and we only have ourselves to rescue ourselves from this kind of environment. You know, the kind of environment we are living in is a total dictatorship, and it's only us who can bring about that change. If we get together and stand together and know that we are the oppressed and we have to fight the few people who oppress us, it's the only way we can bring about change. And no one is going to bring that change unless you do something about it.
And we are seeing you in solidarity of Eddie Mutwe, the shot there,
Oh, yeah.
to be released.
Yeah, like, you know, Eddie Mutwe was abducted, and later on the CDF came out to brag that he had him in his basement teaching him Lunyankole. So like I said, politics is for everyone. Your silence means that you are siding with the oppressor. You can do something about this. Speak out. Go onto your social media platform. Criticize whatever is bad. We do not say that you only have to criticize, but let's speak about against the injustices. So right now, Eddie Mutwe is incarcerated where we do not know where. We don't know the kind of situation he is in right now, but the picture that came out clearly showed that he had been brutalized. So this might happen to him today. The next day, it might be you. So you need to speak out. Fight for a person who's not able to fight for themselves, so that when the time comes and you need to be defended, people will be able to defend you because they will be around. So we need to stand up as a nation and speak against the injustices.
Nubian Lee,
Yeah.
thank you very much for your time.
Thank you
And
too.
also thank you very much for hosting us here in your beautiful headquarters as
Oh yeah.
NUP.
Oh yeah.
But I'm seeing you,
we have
you-
cameras,
man, I don't
surveillance
know.
cameras everywhere.
you put their cameras to watch us, or I'm seeing one on the mast, I'm seeing one the other end. Oh, why are you putting cameras for us?
You know, like that, like the preoccupation of the regime is to keep itself in power. So they are scared of every little thing. They keep us on the grid. They monitor us, every activity, because they are scared. They don't know what is going to happen
So
next.
I thought those were your cameras. They are for the regime.
It's the regime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nubia. Thanks. But do you know we share the same tribe?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You told me.
We share the same tribe, but
You could be my brother.
as you, I don't know the language.
Ah, and there's so many like us.
That's
So
for a
many,
fact.
yeah.
But anyway, that will be for another discussion.
Oh, yeah.
And also, hopefully, we'll have another time to have you
Oh yeah.
for kind of politics. We wanted to talk to you also in a different discussion
Yeah.
about your aspirations for politics. I
Oh.
don't know where you're coming.
Yeah.
Because I need to hear it from you. Yeah.
I'm coming. Nakawa people, I'm coming for the position of mayor, and I seek for your support.
And what are you going to, just a glimpse of what you're going to be doing or what you hope to do for them?
So much like I'm an artist, and one of the duties of a mayor is to promote their constituencies. So I'll be able to promote Nakawa and put it on the market. Nakawa must shine.
All right, that's Nubian Lee. From his arm, I'm seeing an ink in
Yeah,
bold. It's
yeah.
saying freedom.
Freedom.
But what it says to me is, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I'm Arafat Shafiq. Today we've been looking into the music political interlinks. We've been talking to Nubian Lee. See you next time. Salute.